Yu-Gi-Oh! An incredibly complex card game with tens of thousands of cards. However, what if each set was separated from the rest of the massive card pool and your choices when building a deck were extremely limited? In this series, in order to learn Yu-Gi-Oh! From the ground up, I will be embarking on an adventure through the history of the card game with Jeexx. In each episode, we will have access to all the cards in a select product, and using only the cards in that product, both of us will build a deck before playing a best of 3 match to determine the winner of the episode. We will move in a chronological order in the series, and with each new episode we will forget the cards of the past in order to experience something brand new. We hope you enjoyed this adventure through Yu-Gi-Oh! And its evolution with us. Welcome to the historic Yu-Gi-Oh! Learning journey. And ladies and fellas, back to another episode of Historic Yu-Gi-Oh! Learning Journey, and it is time for yet another structure deck episode. So this time we're doing the structure decks Dinosaur's Rage as well as Machine Revolt. Jeexx is going to be piloting Dinosaur's Rage and I'm going to be piloting Machine Revolt. So let's just, as always, take a look what these decks have in them. So right off the bat, structure deck Dinosaur's Rage has an impressive 3300 beat stick in Superconductor Tyranno that once put on Gan Jupiter Monster to burn your opponent for 1000, but can't attack the turn this effect is activated. Obviously it's absolutely humongous, so it's probably going to be able to beat over most things anyway, but just in case your opponent has something that you can't get over, or you can just finish them off with burn damage without having to risk running into a Sakuretsu or anything like that. It's a nice insurance to have as the effect. Then we have some beat sticks. Cabalzals, probably not very relevant at 1700, but Sabersaurus at 1900 is still quite massive. Metzor Beast, not really relevant, I don't think. Gilosaurus, though, can be special summoned from your hand, and if summoned this way, you activate an effect where your opponent can special summon a monster from their graveyard. Obviously, if you can get this on the board turn 1, when there's nothing on your opponent's grave, then it's just a free monster on the field. Dark Triceratops, sorry about that. Probably the premier tribute monster in this deck that's actually going to be brought out. Normally, you'll see in a little bit what I mean. 2400 beat stick at 1 tribute required. Still very good. If it attacks a defense position monster, you inflict piercing. Very good, obviously. Hyper Hammerhead, honestly one of the best cards in the entire deck. 1500 attack when you see Machine Revolt is actually quite relevant in terms of like how big it is, and then the effect at the end of damage, if an opponent's monster that battle this card is not destroyed, you bounce it to the hand. So Hyper Hammer can essentially just, you can pay life tones to swing into bigger walls to bounce them back to your opponent's hand, or just deal with bigger threats as well by bouncing them to the hand. Obviously in that case you're gonna lose the card itself, but most importantly it's very good at dealing with defensive cards. Black Tyranno, probably not gonna be relevant with all the other like different tribute monsters you can run. Tyranno Infinity is interesting, but the ways to actually banish dinosaurs in this deck are quite limited. Hydrogeddon, though, a very good card as well. When it destroys a opponent's monster by battle and sends to the grave, you can spell summon another Hydrogeddon from your deck, 1600, so still pretty hefty in this episode. Oxygeddon is quite big, but the effect basically does nothing. Black Stego is one of the two 2k walls the deck has access to. It can, even if you can summon it into an empty field and swing it with in attack position, it's still gonna protect itself with the effect by flipping it to defense position when targeted for an attack. Ultimate Tyranno is the other, in addition to Conductor, the other like probably big payoff tribute monster. So these two cards are 2 tribute monsters, probably not going to be summoned with 2 tributes though. 3000 attack and can attack all your opponent's monsters once each, but if you control an Ultimate Tyranno, you can't attack with other cards than Ultimate Tyranno in the battle phase. So a bit of a limitation there, so you can't just straight up OTK your opponent with Ultimate Tyranno and other stuff. but still pretty damn good. Miracle Jurassic Egg, the other 2k wall. While waves on the field, it cannot be banished, and each time a dinosaur monster is sent to your graveyard from anywhere, you place 2 counters on this card, and then you contribute this card and special summon a dinosaur monster from your deck that is a level less than equal to the counters that were on Miracle Jurassic Egg. Finally, Baby Stegosaurus still extremely good to this day. If it's destroyed by a card effect is into a graveyard from anywhere, once again, you spell summon a level 4 lower dinosaur monster from your deck. Very good combo starter. Not gonna be too great in this episode's context, but still a very good card. A big evolution pill is what I was alluding to with Ultimate Tyranno as well as Conductor. After you activate the card, it remains on the field, but get destroyed during your opponent's third end phase, so kind of works like a swords, not a continuous spell though. You tribute a dinosaur monster on the field to activate the card, and then when it's face up on the field, you can normal summon dinosaurs without tributing, which is obviously very good since this deck has multiple good ones like Ultimate Tyranno, probably not Black Tyranno, Dark Triceratops even, and then obviously Super Conductor. Then you have a okay arsenal of back row. The back row I think is definitely better in Machine Revolt, but we'll cover those in a little bit. Tail Swap can be used to bounce 2 cards in your opponent's hand. It's pretty gimmicky though, because it needs a tribute summon dinosaur monster. Jurassic World, very simple, just 300 attack and defense boost to all dinosaur monsters. Then we have just a bunch of cards probably won't see. MST, once again, we've seen it a million times. We know what it does. Very good, obviously. Megamorph is there as an option, but I don't think, because of how these decks will play, I don't think Megamorph is going to be very great. It's and you want to be beating your opponent down, and then when you're lower on life, you don't want to be losing attack points on your monsters, and using MST on your own stuff just feels bad. Heavy Storm, a mass version of obviously MST, can be used to wipe your opponent's back row. Obviously still affects yours as well. Lightning Vortex, discard a card, destroy a failed monster your opponent controls. So all less access to field wiping. As for the traps, Hunting Instinct is interesting. So when a monster is special summoned to your opponent's field, except during the damage step, you can special summon any dinosaur monster from your hand. So this doesn't need attributes, but obviously it has to be specifically special summoned, so that makes it much harder to use. Survival Instinct might show up because a single thing that the Machine Revolt deck can do, but other than that, it's pretty niche. Magical Arm Shield, very niche. Battle Protection, much less niche. Battle Protection is Negate Attack, where you just simply negate your opponent's attack when they attack with a monster, and then the battle phase is immediately ended. Malfunction pays 500 life points to negate the activation of a trap card and returns it to its original position. This is going to be very good, buying you a turn against traps. The Machine Revolt has actually quite a few decent traps, so this might show up. And finally, Fossil Excavation is a continuous trap that, once again, you discard a card to activate it. This one is actually, yeah, a continuous card. And then you target a dinosaur monster in your graveyard, special summon it, negate its effects, and then when either of these cards leaves the field, the other gets destroyed. So it's sort of an archetypal Call of the Haunted, but it's only specifically for dinosaur monsters. It negates the effects, and it has to discard to activate the card. So much more conditional and harder to use, but still it's recursion for your cards. So that's Dinosaur's Rage. It's a very straightforward deck with just a bunch of very powerful monsters. And then for Machine Revolt, well, you'll see it's a little bit different. So there are a couple of archetypes in Machine Revolt. Here, right off the bat, we can see Ancient Gears are here. So Ancient Gear, Gadgetron, a Dragon is going to be one of the two. This one also has two like premier big payoff two tribute monsters. 3000 attack. If it attacks your opponent, it has the Ancient Gear effect, where I'll just refer to this as the Ancient Gear effect, where if this card attacks, your opponent cannot activate back row on the line of the damage step. And Then both Gadget Lord Dragon and Gadget Lord Chimera, which is a 1-tribute monster, Gadget Lord Dragon is a 2-tribute monster, get effects based on different gadgets that you can tribute for them. So Dragon gets piercing if you tribute summon it using green. From red, it deals burn damage to your opponent in addition to dealing battle damage. And yellow, if it destroys a monster by battle, inflicts 600 burn damage to your opponent. And Chimera has basically the same effects for red and yellow, although both of them are 100 points more damage. But instead of gaining piercing on attributing green gadget, it gains 300 attack, and it importantly does not have the back row protection that usually Ancient Gears have. Engineer is a level 5 with 1500 attack and defense, so very irrelevant. Dread Dynamo, a level 4 to 2k wall, that when you control a gadget monster is also a 2k beat stick, so a very good card. Mechanical Chaser is interesting, 1850, so pretty big, but in the context of this episode, it'll be actually interesting. We'll cover that later. Probably I'll talk about it in the deck building section. And then the big highlight of the Machine Revolt deck is the gadget lineup. So green gadget, red gadget, and yellow gadget. 1400, 1300, and 1200 respectively. They search each other on a normal or special summon and add them to hand, so they're a very good value engine. But importantly in this matchup, they are still very tiny, so you need some payoffs for the gadgets. And we've already covered like tribute summons is what obviously one of them. We'll have one more card that's very, very important for that. And the other is Cannon Soldier, which also revolves around a specific trap card that we'll cover in a little bit. Well, obviously, once per turn, tribute the monster, inflict 500 burn damage to your opponent is very good. Gear Golem, the Moving Fortress. We've seen this card already before. 2200 wall that once per turn you can pay 800 life points to attack your opponent directly this turn, which means you pay the same amount that you're dealing to your opponent. Can be used to finish off your opponent if you get to that point, but 99% of the time it's just going to be sitting in defense, being your best possible wall. We also have unions, probably not going to really matter. And then we have the rest of the Ancient Gears. Golem, probably the only one that maybe we'll see, just because it's very big. Obviously needs 2 tributes and cannot be special summoned, which is a bummer. But has the Ancient Gear effect of back row protection and deals piercing damage. And with such big stats, it's very good if it ever gets to hit the field. Then we have a bunch of spells specifically for Ancient Gears. Workshop gets a monster back to your hand from your grave. A tank is just simple damage boost. Ancient Gear Explosive is essentially just like a very poor man's Ring of Destruction. Fist basically gives a guaranteed destruction effect to your Ancient Gears. Ancient Gear Factor is... And no, it's bad. Drill the same thing, very bad. Castle probably gonna be, I would say, the best one out of all the Ancient Gear spells. All Ancient Gear monsters you control gain 300 attack, sorry. And each time a monster is normal summoned or set, and importantly, a monster. It doesn't have to be your monster. You place a counter on this card, and then if you tribute summon Ancient Gear monster face up, you contribute this card instead of using actual monsters on the tributes, as long as you have at least the required amount of counters. Where getting 2 counters on this is not going to be hard at all. So more often than not, if you're going to be summoning Golem or a Dragon, you're going to be summoning them with Castle, not actually using the proper materials in monsters. Sorry, I'm being a scatterbrain today. MST also present here. Heavy Storm, same thing. Limited removal, very good. Obviously, all of the stuff that you have is machines, so this will help you beat over things. And there's actually a very interesting line with Dread Dynamo, machine dupe Dread Dynamo. Since Dread Dynamo, if you don't have a gadget, is 500. So if you ever have managed to keep the Dynamo on the field, you have Machine Dupe and Limiter, you can go Machine Dupe for the Dynamo to get 2 more Dynamos. And then if you still have your normal summon any gadget monster, go into Limited removal, and suddenly you have not only the gadget, at whichever attack points as it is, but also all 3 Dread Dynamos at 4,000 attacks. So that's actually one of the win cons of the deck, and as we'll see a little bit, probably one of the only ones. Econ, very good. You can either target your opponent's monster and change his battle position, or by tributing monster, you can take control of an opponent's monster for a turn. Final spell, Pot of Avarice, target 5 monsters in your grave, shuffle all 5 in the deck, and draw 2. Obviously very good with gadgets being able to get themselves from the deck very easily and very fast. But obviously, they, like we've established, they're quite small, though, so it's easy to beat over them, so this will let you use them in your grave for some more value. Stronghold the Moving Fortress is essentially a trap you summon as a 2k wall, and then while you control all 3 gadget names, then it gains 3,000 attack. Probably never gonna happen, but more often than not, it's just a wall that doesn't take up your normal summon. And what the card that I was talking about earlier, that the entire deck essentially revolves around, is Ultimate Offering. So not only getting your attributes to be able to summon some of your actual big stuff, needs multiple normal summons, needs Ultimate Offering or Castle, and making use of your gadgets, getting multiple effects in a single turn. Ultimate Offering, very good for that. Ultimate Offering also makes the Cannon Soldier line viable, but you need to have the advantage before you go for it, since 500 you pay 500 to normal summon a monster, which you then use for Cannon Soldier to burn your opponent for 500. So you need to first gain the life point advantage, but after you gain the life point advantage, if you have Cannon Soldier as well as a gadget in your hand, you're probably going to win. Socrates Armor, we all also see multiple times already. Very effective and simple battle trap. Grim Metamorph is interesting. You attack boost one of your machine monsters on the field and then protect it from a spell effect once, but this card gets popped when the monster leaves the field. Battle boosting is actually somewhat relevant here, as we've already established. A lot of the stuff that you actually want to be playing, mostly the gadgets, are very small, so attack boosting is actually going to be a viable option to actually keep them alive. Rollout, I don't think is very relevant, since we only have one union monster that we're most likely not going to be playing. And covering fire during the damage step, if an opponent's monster attacks your monster, you target another face monster you control, and then the monster that is attacked gains attack equal to the other monster. So stuff like gadgets can boost each other up with them. So I definitely do think that playing the Machine Revolt this time around we are at a disadvantage, just because I feel like the raw power of the Dinosaur deck is much higher, but there are some interesting lines, and gadgets for this time are definitely a very good archetype, so it'll be interesting to see what we can make with them. So that has been the breakdown. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I will see you all in the deck building section next.
So, first off, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a game that I've been playing for like 15, 18 years now. Ever since I was wee little lamb, back in like 2006, 2005, give or take. And I originally started off just getting boosters, like random boosters here and there, getting stuff like DD Guide from Enemy of Justice, I think it was, and other random boosters such as... we never got Cyberdark Impact, that's for sure. I don't remember ever seeing a single booster for Cyberdark Impact. But we got Power of the Duelist, and we got Shadows of Infinity, and something else. But yeah, got a billion different boosters up until this point. After this, I didn't get that many boosters anymore, mostly because of the fact that my parents just kind of stopped buying them for me. But I got a structure deck, and this structure deck carried me to like the point where I am now, basically. This is my first deck in the game. This is really weird to explain, but this is the first deck that I ever got in the game, and this is the first deck I properly tried to upgrade in the game. And I really have a lot of sentimental value towards this deck. I still have my copy of Superconductor Tyranno from this specific deck somewhere, and I know it's that one because it has a fucking like piece cut out of it because it's so worn out from shuffling without sleeves. So it's somewhere, and I really love it. I don't know where it is right now, but I could find it if I tried to. But yes, so this set and these cards have a lot of sentimental value to my dumbass, and I've never got around to actually building a proper deck with these ever since I quote-unquote learned to play the game properly. So let's talk or break this down a bit. I think we saw Black Stego recently, but Black Stego is a 2k wall. Simple as, nothing special, nothing unique, just a 2k wall. It's a dinosaur, which has its benefits for this deck. Then we had Dark Triceratops, which is a 1 tribute, 2.4k piercing, defensive destroying piece of shit, basically. This card is probably going to be the cornerstone of the entire offense, simply because of the fact that both decks have 2k walls. Like he has 2k walls, he has enemy control, and so on. So I can just go into Dark Triceratops on turn 2 and then swing over anything that he might have. And I would imagine that it will work out in my favor in almost every regard. But yeah. Then I have Gillosaurus, which can help me turbo out Dark Triceratops on turn 1, or getting a big evolution pill going on turn 1, using its effect, which says you can special summon this card from your hand. If summoned this way, activate this effect. Your opponent can special summon 1 monster from their graveyard. You don't want to use this card if your opponent has cards in the graveyard, unless you're really certain that you can use this to push for game. Or you can do some setup with it. Then we have Hydrogeddon. Hydrogeddon is a card that we saw fairly recently as well, like the beginning of Jeexx, Lost Millennium, I think, give or take. And Hydrogeddon is a really, really strong card. I think I talked about this back in that set, but we didn't really get a chance to see it much there. But Hydrogeddon is a 1.6k beat stick that has the effect of when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can special summon another Hydrogeddon from your deck. So let's say you have a situation where you have a Hydrogeddon on the field, or your opponent has a green gadget on the field, you summon Hydrogeddon, and you swing over the green gadget to get another Hydrogeddon. Insane, big damage, but let's say they have more cards on the field. Well, suddenly, that 1 Hydrogeddon you normal summon can turn into 3 Hydrogeddon. That's 4,800 damage on the board, possibly. And your opponent has to catch up as soon as possible. And because this is such a mismatch in terms of card balance, the Ancient Gear structure deck doesn't have Lightning Vortex. So basically, if you get 3 Hydrogeddons out on the field, you win. Just that simple. Then we have the best removal card in the set, which is Hyper Hammerhead. We've already seen Hyper Hammerhead in, I think, Invasion of Chaos? Invasion of Chaos, Hyper Hammerhead was a invaluable piece of defense because it dealt with Blackluster Soldier and Chaos Envoy Emperor Dragon, or whatever the fuck. This card is really good. It has the effect of, at the end of the damage step, if an opponent's monster that battled this card is not destroyed, return that opponent's monster to the hand. So I can swing into anything that's bigger than it, and it'll just eventually get bounced. So if my opponent's playing tribute monsters, they don't have tribute monsters. We're gonna see something similar later on in the next set with Grand Mole, but with Grand Mole, there's no such stipulation. But Grand Mole also gets rid of himself, so you can't really do that as a decent tempo play. Then we have Miracle Jurassic Egg, which is a gimmicky card that allows you to special summon dinosaurs from your deck by the number of counters that it had on it, but it doesn't matter. You're never going to use this effect, I don't think. Then we have Tyranno Infinity. Actually, I could probably just break it down. While face up on the field, this card cannot be banished. Each time a dinosaur-type monster is sent to your graveyard, place 2 counters on this card. You can tribute this card, special summon 1 dinosaur-type monster from your deck whose level is less than or equal to the number of counters that were on this card. I don't think you're ever going to see many counters on this outside of so you can't really do anything with it unless you're playing level 1s or 2s. But yeah, and Tyranno Infinity. Tyranno Infinity is a Joker of a card. It literally has a question mark attack, just like Ra does, and it has the effect of the original attack of this card is the number of your banished dinosaur-type monsters, type 1000. And that can be wild. That can get really insane if you're using Survival Instinct. That's why I'm running one of it, because it can turn the game around really well. Then we have Ultimate Tyranno, which is probably going to be the de facto finisher. And it has the effect of this card can attack all your opponent's monsters once each. During a battle phase, if you control an ultimate Tyranno, monsters other than ultimate Tyranno cannot attack. So if your opponent has multiple gadgets out on the field, you can just kill all of them at once. And that's kind of big. But yeah. Then we have Sabersaurus, another card that we've seen recently. It's 1.9k beat sticks and blast. Nothing too impressive. Big evolution pill. Now this is where things get real. Big evolution pill has the effect of after this card's activation, it remains on the field but destroyed during your opponent's third end phase. Tribute one dinosaur monster to activate this card. While this card is face up on the field, you can normal summon level 5 or higher dinosaur type monsters without tributing. That's wild. That's actually fucking wild. And I don't think it's too unrealistic to get a Gillosaurus and a Big Evolution Pill if you're playing 3 of each, but I felt because I'm not playing more than 4 tribute monsters anyhow, I would not want to have this in my hand past or I would not want to even have this in my starting hand if I don't have a tribute monster, or I wouldn't want to draw into it too late. Yeah, Big Evolution Pill is a cornerstone for the Dinosaur deck, and if you've played Modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, if we just go and look at Evolution Pills, we have Double Evolution Pill. Banish one dinosaur monster and a non-dinosaur monster from your hand and or graveyard, and special summon one level 7 or higher dinosaur monster from your hand or deck, ignoring its summon conditions. Oh, sorry, I can't type. I can't type at all. I am fucking incapable. You can summon this with the Double Evolution Pill. Just out the deck. You know that. People who played this game know that. This is so fucking stupid. But yeah. Heavy Storm. Heavy Storm is Heavy Storm. Yes. Jurassic World, which is a field spell that's not very impactful, but it's probably gonna be enough to make some stuff like Hyper Hammerhead even harder to kill, and it'll make it honestly more relevant because I think this card, Gear Golem, this thing can be a problem because it's 2.2k. But if I constantly ram Hyper Hammerhead into it, I can basically pay 700 life points to make my opponent go behind in tempo. They have to then reset the card. And I think that's really, really annoying to deal with, and I hope that comes about in the set. And Lightning Vortex, again, a card we card a couple of times. Mystical Space Typhoon, again. Fossil Excavation, activate this card by discarding one card and then target one dinosaur type monster in your graveyard. Special on that target. Negate the effects of that monster on the field, and when this card leaves the field, destroy that monster and vice versa. Yeah, it's called Haunted with a cost. Then we have Malfunction. Malfunction is pay 500 life points and negate the activation of trap card. This is in here specifically because Sakuretsu Armor is in the other set, is in the other structure deck. So we need a way to prevent Sakuretsu from going off on pivotal moments. Survival Instinct is a setup card for Tyranno Infinity and a way to deal with Cannon Soldier, because Cannon Soldier can be really scary in the other deck, and has the effect of banish any number of monsters, dinosaur type monsters from your graveyard, and gain 400 life points for each dinosaur type monster banished to activate this effect. There it is, simple as. It's very good, very powerful. Third copy of Hyper Hammerhead and Superconductor Tyranno. A level 8, 3.3k beat stick. Dinosaur, with the effect of once per turn, you contribute one monster and inflict 1000 damage to your opponent. This card cannot declare an attack this turn, or the turn this effect is activated. So yeah, it's not very, very, There's a reason why we're not main decking this. But yeah, more Tyranno Infinities, Ultimate Tyrannos, Big Evolution Pills, and Lightning Vortex. Tail Swipe is here if I feel like I need to have a non-destruction removal, or I need the field to have more pinpoint removal for one reason or another. Another Fossil Excavation, Hunting Instinct. I don't think the other deck has any form of special summoning, but I figured I'd just put this in the side deck if there was something that I did completely missed. Like maybe Machine Dupe, for example. Yeah, that's one. And then another copy of Malfunction and Survival Instinct. And that about does it. I don't think there's much else to be said for this set. It's really nostalgic, it's really sentimental. I really appreciate being able to play the deck. I'm kind of glad that I lost the previous set. I'm also kind of mad that I lost it, but still, you know, I think these will be fun games. For me, at least. But yeah, good luck with the games.
And welcome back, guys and gals, and here's what we're gonna be playing today. It's honestly seems pretty good to me. Like, I'm so worried, and I was playing for so long. I was playing with, should I go cannon soldier or should I go mechanical chaser in my side? Like, I was playing with that for quite a while. Most of the stuff here I feel like is very self-explanatory, and like basically wasn't very easy include, because there's a lot of stuff in the deck that's very good actually, but there's a lot of stuff in the deck that's absolutely awful. So coming up with most of the deck was not very difficult, but the choice here, I ended up going with cannon soldier because I feel like the big problem I have with this deck against the dinosaur structure deck is just the size of the monsters. Like Hyper Hammerhead, Hydrogadon have good effects, and they're 1500 and 1600, which normally wouldn't be under a normal set like too crazy. But in context of this episode, that's actually quite like big. Like those having actual relevant effects and me not having an easy way to beat over them is actually really bad. So but I ended with one mechanical chaser at 3 copies. Probably is not gonna be enough to win me the game, so I ended up going the more value route. I also feel like it's like more fitting for gadgets to be showcasing something like this, but we'll see if I end up regretting that decision. Regardless, let's take a look at the deck and see what we are working with. Right off the bat, we have 2 Ancient Gear Golem in the main. We have 1 Dragon and 1 Chimera, 1 more Dragon and 1 more Chimera in the side. I was pondering whether I wanted to play 2 Golem or 2 Dragon, but I ended up with, most of the time, if I'm going to be summoning Dragon or Golem, it's gonna be with Castle and not actually the actual tributes, which turns Dragon into a 3k beat stick with the back row protection effect, which means that Golem is better since it has the same thing. But if it ever ends up in defense, it's also a 3k defender, and additionally it inflicts piercing, which can be relevant since the deck Jeexx is playing has a couple 2k walls that I feel like he wants to be setting. So these, like, our tributes are gonna be the prime way that we win. We have like a single other win condition in the deck, but that's kind of like Miracle Fairyland. And then I think I covered in the set breakdown the Cannon Soldier line, where if we get to establish a life point lead and we get to, sorry about that, we get to set up ultimate offering with gadgets and cannon soldier, then as long as we have the life point lead, we can then just burn Jeexx out very easily. Obviously you need the 1 extra normal summon as well to not only get the whole thing going, you need it to normal summon your first gadget to keep getting them back in your hand. But if you ever have that 1,000 points or more of a lead, then the ultimate offering line is essentially just an immediate win. So I guess that's all. That's already me kind of covering Cannon Soldier. But as for the rest of the main deck, the non-tribute summon monsters, we are running 3 Gear Golem, the Moving Fortress. It's a 22k wall. It's gonna be very hard for Jeexx to get over unless he specifically gets like Hyper Hammerhead. He will have a really hard time getting over Gear Golem, since even Sabersaurus at with a boost from Jurassic World, I think it was Jurassic World, the field card that the deck has, whatever gives it 300, it's only gonna be 22 at as well, so he can't beat over that with Sabersaurus either, so he needs to find a tribute summonable monster or gets specifically Hyper Hammerhead. And Hyper Hammerhead is one card that I definitely acknowledge is going to be a big problem for the deck, but the Jeexx deck has basically no consistency, so there will only be 3 copies of Hyper Hammerhead, so I feel like fearing that one card to ruin all potential of 3 games is pretty unlikely. So yeah. Boot Up Soldier, Dread Dynamo are other wall at 2000 defense, and this is the other win con that I mentioned. I also think I covered this as well in the as a breakdown. That I feel like this is more feasible than a Cannon Soldier, although Cannon Soldier just needs one specific gadget with ultimate offering, but you also need the life lead. Dread Dynamo needs more specific cards, but if we get those cards, it's like very easy because it's essentially we just have Dread Dynamo, we have a gadget, we have ultimate offering hopefully already set up, we have machine dupe, we have limit removal, so we need a lot of specific cards, but I'm only making one limited removal. It's only for this, like specifically for this line. And then if I feel super desperate, after game 1, I have stuff here, 2 more limited removals, as well as these 2 pots, which are here basically just to get to our stuff faster. But yeah, Dread Dynamo by itself is already very good at being a 2k wall. And obviously, if we get machine dupe, Dread Dynamos with limited removal, that's just going to immediately win us the game. But that's magical fairyland, but very easy to pull off if we get there. So we have like 2 sort of like these combo-y win cons, and then we are playing a 4 tribute monster. We have 2 more and decide if we want to go for them as like additional, like the more straightforward ways of winning, sort of like trying to just control the board and then get to those, because we have a decent amount of control tools as we'll get to shortly. But then the stars of the show: green gadget, red gadget, and yellow gadget. So when these cards are normal or special summoned, they search each other. So green searches red, red searches yellow, and yellow searches green. That was a tongue twister for me. And these are essentially just a very good value engine, especially with something like Ultimate Offering, which is probably the single best card in our deck. These can thin out your deck very quickly, as well as just keep your hand refueled with more monsters. The big problem here is that you need an actual payoff for these cards, and that's why we have tribute monsters. We have the Dread Dynamo line. We have even a third like win con in the side deck if we want to go that route as well. So that's why we have those, because gadgets themselves, they're not big, they're not going to do much. Limited removal, I already covered. Ancient Gear Castle is here to boost Ancient Gear monsters by 300. No, we are playing 4 Ancient Gears, 6 if you count side deck. They are already massive. These are here to tribute summon for Gadgetron Dragon or Ancient Gear Golem. Like, that's it. Econ, you can either essentially stop your opponent's big swing or on a big dino that then gets flipped to defense. Then we can probably beat over it, because a lot of the dinosaurs have very weak very weak defense stats despite their massive attack stats. So in a lot of scenario, we can even swing over stuff with stuff like gadgets, and definitely like if we flip some of his boss monsters, then we can swing over them with ours. And even in the case of like something like Superconductor, I think has 1400 defense, which is very tiny, 3300 attack. So if we can econ that, swing over it with Ancient Gear Golem for 1600 piercing, that would be pretty neat. And we can also like just stop a battle phase completely if we have something like maybe one of our gadgets just sitting on the field that's gonna get run over anyway. We can then econ tribute the gadget to get his biggest thing, and then he can't beat over our stuff anymore. Machine dupe, here we have a single target, which is Dread Dynamo. This is here to find Dread Dynamo. MST, 3 copies. The deck still has like a decent amount of like good back row. I feel like negate attack is not that important, but like sniping Jeexx's own MSTs is going to be something before we set up something like Castle or a special Ultimate Offering, or rest of our actually good back row. And Jurassic World actually is also a pretty decent target as well. Sakuratsu here, like, he's going to be 90% of the time the deck that's going to be attacking is going to be his. He's going to have the bigger stuff. We can then pick and choose what we want to actually pop. Do we want him to be able to beat over our monsters? Maybe we want to save them for tribute fodder. Sakuratsu is just very good. 2, Stronghold the Moving Fortress, one more in the side deck. This is literally just another 2k wall that we can summon as a trap. The secondary effect of gaining 3000 attack will never probably matter. And Ultimate Offering, like I said, probably the best card in the deck. I've said in the past that I don't think I'd ever want to run this as 3 copies. Here I definitely do, because this is the trading wheels that keeps our bike straight, essentially here. It lets us go into multiple gadgets. It lets us go into the cannon soldier line if we need to. It lets us go into our big tributes if we can't find castle. It just does everything for the deck. As for the side, most of the stuff we've already covered. Pot of Avarice I touch on shortly, but gadgets are small. They're going to be finding each other, but they need to be normal summoned for that to happen. They're easily going to get beat over afterwards. They end up in the grave. So a Pot of Avarice lets us shuffle those back in and then get to them again, as well as draw additional cards with that. So this will help us find our stuff. The reason why I'm not main decking is that I actually found the main deck to be extremely tight. So initially I had one Pot of Avarice instead of which was, I think, Chimera. Then I ended up like I wanted a single like 1 tribute monster as well, because like I don't want to lose tempo too bad. If Jeexx keeps summoning stuff like Saber Stars that's just big. So I feel like getting to our big stuff is going to be good for that as well. But these are mostly here if we end up going the line where we really need to like the combos find the combos to actually win. Then we can side into Pot of Avarice. Limited removal here for the Dread Dynamo combo I alluded to earlier. Heavy Storm at 1 copy. If I really feel like I'm struggling with his back row, which I don't think I will, but just in case I feel like I have Heavy Storm here, I really do feel like that we have the superior back row with stuff like Sakuretsu and Ultimate Offering, especially like we don't want to blow up our own Ultimate Offering or even stuff like Ancient Gear Castle for that matter. So I don't think Heavy Storm is going to be relevant, but just in case I want to have one, like if I feel like running it. Rare Metal Morph at 2 copies. Protects from a spell effect that targets. Probably not going to be that relevant. More relevant is actually the attack boost, because like I said, like our gadgets are very small, and the Rare Metal Morph will let them beat over stuff like Hyper Hammerhead, and it will even let green crash with Saber Swords if need be. But I feel like that's still like weird. If it would have gone for the more beatdown style, I would have had Mechanical Chasers here and probably then a 3rd copy of Metamorph instead of Heavy Storm here. But since I felt like going the value route was more a better idea, I figured like just 2 here in the side if I really feel like we need the attack boost. It's gonna be good enough. Crime Fire, kind of the same thing. It just I couldn't really figure out, because Metamorph is good if you only have 1 monster. If you have multiple ones, then Covering Fire is going to be better. So I just have 2 of each. They're just here to protect our things from getting beat over by bigger things, essentially. Sorry, that was a lot of talking. I kept messing up my words. I don't know what was with me for that. But yeah, that's the deck. It'll be interesting to see how this goes. I feel like I said, I don't want to sound like I'm getting Jones out like prematurely, but I really do feel like we're gonna be the underdog in this episode. But I guess that also takes a little bit of the pressure off us, because Jeexx is expected to win. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the deck breakdowns. Let's see what you can do with the deck, and I will see you all in the dueling zone. Ladies and lads, welcome to another episode of the Historic Yu-Gi-Oh! Learning Journey. And this time, it's another structure deck episode. I am playing Machine Revolt, which is quite the revolting deck. And Jeexx, what are you playing?
I'm playing Dinosaur's Rage. I'm very excited. This is actually the original deck that I first bought, or I first got when I was a kid. So I'm fairly interested to see how I can now, about 15 years removed, 16 years removed from when I originally got the deck, how I can envision. Come on, man! Come on, man! How I can envision the deck like playing in a modern like way.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting.
So you're not gonna rage about the deck.
I'm gonna rage against the machine.
You didn't do it. I was like flabbergasted. It's like, what?
No, I just I actually had that lined up. I was thinking about it, but I didn't know if I wanted to go with that or if I wanted to have a history lesson real quick. So
Fair enough. Fair. I mean, I think giving a little bit of background like that, I think that's much better. And I can be sometimes the one to deliver the cringe lines. Not cringe. Cool. We're hip. I today learned that people don't use hip the way I do, and now I'm having an existential crisis. Another thing to
Like
have an existential crisis about. Awesome.
how do they use it then?
I was mentioning with my sister, and she sent me an article about like our names being cool these days. I just said like, yeah, we're hip, and then she's like, what? What do you mean? I'm like, wait, like hip, like it's in, like fashionable. She's like, I have never used that ever, ever heard that used like that. I'm like, what? Am I the weird one?
Remember back in school when people started saying you got served?
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing that I could think of was like, but you didn't even fucking bust a move, dumbass.
Oh yeah.
What do you mean I got served?
That's like I have not heard that said in 10 years, and now you just brought me back. Like holy shit.
No one said it since like the 70s or 80s or after. No, nobody watched it. Nobody said it unless they just saw Grease or something. But then suddenly all the kids in elementary school were like, "You just got served, kid."
Anyways, enough of two boomers having a boomer talk. Let's play some Yu-Gi-Oh, shall we? So
I'm gonna throw rocks.
Are you? Actually, I think you
believe me?
will. I mean, you wouldn't lie to me. You're too nice of a guy. And you know what? I'm gonna let you go first because you were nice. Because we need to sometimes reward honesty in this world.
Yeah, you're totally not letting me go first because you have a wing con for turn 2.
Okay, genuinely though, I actually like the. I would have gone first if I wanted to be smart, but I feel like we gotta be nice here sometimes. Anyways, best of luck, and well, this is an interesting hand. All right, I think. Do I think? Do you think that I think?
Sometimes I think.
I think it's a pretty good thing to think. But I think I will start by setting some cards and just passing the turn. That's fair enough, Actually, that's interesting.
Do you have something in response with?
Maybe. I'm thinking. Probably won't matter, but actually, yeah, no, never mind. Yeah, off the grave, just.
Oh, you would want to summon him, or?
No, it's still a trap. That doesn't matter. I had something else in mind, but yeah, all good.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like, you can't do that because it's still.
I mean, it gets summoned, but it's immediately gets popped either way, so it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. I'm gonna summon Hyper Hammerhead, and I'm gonna swing into the face down.
Yep. So you take 17, and then it gets bounced to my hand.
Yep, I take 700. And I go main phase 2, and I set a card, and I pass.
Hammerhead is such an incredibly good card.
It's so good to ram into things like that, because it just immediately gets rid of them. It's even functional if you attack into it and everything, so...
Yeah. It's actually such an interesting hand. But I think I will set and pass.
So, standby, main. Now, I will normal summon Sabersaurus.
Mm-hmm.
And I will attack with Hyper Hammerhead.
Yep. Take another
700.
700, and this goes back to my hand.
Yeah. And then we
And
go face.
then I will flip up Ultimate Offering to pay 500.
I'm
Or,
thinking.
yep, go ahead.
This is so weird. No, I don't want to respond with that here. No, no, no. Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
Okay, and then I will pay the 500 to set a monster from my hand. Could be anything.
That could be anything. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We have established this.
That's actually weird. That's so weird. That's so weird. I guess I want to get some stuff to my hand anyway, so I will normal green. I will normal green.
There we go. There we go. Yeah, yeah.
To get red to my hand. There is red. It's so awkward because like none of the gadgets get over Hammerhead, and that's what makes it so annoying.
But that's fine. That's why you need to have Stronghold, the moving fortress, in your back row.
Yep. But unfortunately, even when Stronghold is a monster, then it gets bounced to my hand. I think I'll just pass.
Okay.
Part of me wanted to swing into the face down, but part of me wants to preserve my life total.
Swing into green gadget.
Yep. To the grave, I take 500.
Then will attack the... Wait, do I even bother doing that? I'm stupid, actually. I'm actually fucking stupid.
Oh, you cooking up something?
No, I am not cooking. I'm quite literally doing the exact opposite of cooking.
The stove is on fire. Not in a good way.
I'm just gonna... like if I swing into this, I lose 700, but you lose 500. And if I keep... You don't have cannon soldiers in your deck, right? That's what you said earlier.
Yeah, we were discussing stuff earlier. I did enclose some information, which is that I do not have cannon soldiers in my main deck.
Yeah, and if I go by that, I can just swing into this, and I can lose another 700, and you lose 500 again. I don't think it's a worthwhile trade.
That's fair.
I will set one card, and I will pass.
Alrighty. Yeah, I guess I need to thin out my deck a bit. Normal red. If that's alright. And yellow to
Go for it, yeah.
hand. And then... That's so interesting. Yep, I'll just pass again.
Alrighty then.
Chat room.
Okay, so I will main face.
Yep.
I would like to normal summon.
Yep.
Hydro, get on.
Yep.
I would like to go to battle.
Yep.
I would like to
Hydrogadon into red.
Attack the red.
Yep, red to gray, 300, and you get a get on.
Get on. Get done. I will now activate Mystical Space Typhoon. to
Yep.
target your ultimate offering.
Offering is gone. And so
I
are
will
my life
attack.
points.
With Hyper Hammerhead.
It's the same thing.
And I will lose 700 life points. And then I will attack with Hydro Cannon.
16 and 19.
And 19. And then I would like to pass the turn. You don't have Lightning Vortex, right?
Nope. This deck would be good if it had monster clearing capabilities,
Yeah,
but that's kind of the problem with this matchup is I don't, and yeah. That's what makes this matchup really miserable. Set to back row. I guess we'll set a card. And that's... Am I just...
I think you're just dead unless you have like 2 ways of disrupting it.
Yep. Well, I'll just pass.
I would like to flip summon
Yep.
Miracle Jurassic Egg
Yep.
and activate Big Evolution Pill to sacrifice Miracle Jurassic Egg.
Yep.
Tributed for the effect. And then I will normal summon
Yep.
Ultimate Tyranno.
There it is.
And then I will attack using Ultimate Tyranno.
So, during your battle phase, if you control Ultimate Tyrant, that can attack monster other than Ultimate Tyrant, I can't attack. So, no, it's yeah, it's still too big. I'll have to pop it with Saku.
Okay.
So unfortunately, that means the rest of your stuff can attack. Yep, same thing. Take 700. This goes with my hand, but luckily I have this. So,
Aha!
Do you have an MST?
Malfunction.
Oh, yeah.
I negate the activation of a trap card and return it to the original position.
Yeah, this is a mismatch, fellas. Yikes! I'm just like playing catch up the whole time. It just not a good
be
one.
honest. When I played Ultimate Tyranno, I was like, yeah, and then I remembered, oh wait.
Oh yeah, the effect. I mean, even if like I let it go, then I wouldn't have like at least the Ultimate Offering line again with Fortress, which prevents my death for the foreseeable future until you get another big thing that can just beat over anything. And that's kind of the problem in this matchup. All of my stuff is just so small, which
like the fact that although your 1 tribute monsters, other than technically even Chimera, are all weaker than Triceratops.
Yeah,
it's just bad. Like you can't deal with that.
Yeah. But yeah, let's go side for game 2. Yep. A lot of thinking. I think we're fine with that. And best of luck.
Best of luck.
Set a back row and set a monster.
Okay, I was worried. Oh, I will go to standby main.
Hammerhead.
I would like to special summon.
Oh,
Dinosaur.
Yep.
And I would like to normal summon. Hyper Hammerhead.
Yep.
And I would like to activate Jurassic World.
Yep.
And because I am preemptively expecting that to be Sakuretsu Armor or maybe even Ultimate Offering, I will pop the face down.
It is Ultimate Offering.
Yeah, baby. That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Now I will take less damage from this
take 200.
Oh my god. And then I will attack for 1.7k.
Yep, I'll take the 17.
And then I will pass. Did I fall for your trap?
Nope. There is no traps to be made with this fucking garbage deck.
Machine Dupe, Dread Dynamo, Defensive Wall.
Set a monster. Pass.
Are you kidding me?
This is gonna be another very swift episode, I feel like.
Oh my fucking god. That's so unfortunate. I normal summon Sabersaurus.
Yep.
And because I can't say for sure if it's a Dynamo or Moving Fortress, I swing into it with this.
Yep.
Take
Take
400.
500.
Oh,
This
500.
goes.
400. Isn't it? Because it's...
Oh yeah, it's
yeah.
it's 300, not 300. My bad. Yes,
And then
17 and
2.2.
22.
And then I pass.
Yep. Yep. Well played. Fun episode. I mean, it's just the biggest mismatch on the fucking planet, bro. What a dog shit fucking deck this is.
It's so fucking insane.
So fucking bad. It's actually unreal. There's one line you can do in the entire deck which requires 3 specific fucking cards.
I think as like if you play these decks as they are, like one deck against one deck,
Yeah.
the Ancient Gear deck is slightly better because it has things it can do with like one-offs. But with this deck, if you have 3 of these, you have access to this fucking thing.
I mean, Hammerhead.
This fucking thing.
Hammerhead is better solo than like 90% of the cards combined in this fucking deck.
Yeah.
Because like, there's literally you either go machine dupe into boot up soldiers when you have already a gadget on the field, which probably means you need to have ultimate offering, or you have ultimate offerings and gadgets. And okay, I mean at that point you don't really need Ancient Gear Castle, but you kind of need Ancient Gear Castle. But you just like ultimate offering and gadgets, and then having a big tribute monster. But that's about it. Then apart from that, you're just like, all right, so I'm playing against Beatdown that has just monsters that are all just better than me, all of my stuff, and yeah.
Yeah.
What a
It's a little.
what a dog shit fucking deck, man. Holy shit.
This was a horrible match.
I mean, yeah, it's just another one of those where it's just like such a mismatch because it's like the lines are so niche. It's like, yeah, if you get to those, then you can do stuff, but it's just like you have 2 lines that need 3 particular cards, 2 of which, or one of which is prone to back row removal, and if it blows up, then your deck doesn't function. Because like this deck does not function without ultimate offering, like just straight up. You can't do anything without.
Not at all.
Because like even stuff like Cannon Soldier, because you're paying 500 to burn 500. You're even not winning with that because you have to pay the stuff first before your opponent gets burned for the damage, and it's like so hard to get to a position where you have more life points. Because like last game it only happened because you were just like, I mean, there's literally no reason for me to not swing into the thing and just take the damage because you get to build your board and I don't. And then this was more like it, okay, I open up something, you open up something, and your stuff is just bigger. I mean, obviously the Gillosaurus was just the icing on the cake, but I feel like even that like didn't matter.
I feel like the fact that my deck can generally outvalue yours purely because like even though you have arguably one of the strongest value engines for like a normal summon, a special summon, I get a gadget, I get to do this multiple times for the time. I like think that's strong, but there's no payoff.
Yeah, because that's the thing. If I have ultimate offering, then it's good, and if I have something else there, like if I go into tribute summon, then it's good. But like, I can summon 5 gadgets in a turn, and it doesn't matter because there's a Hyper Hammerhead sitting there, and me having 5 gadgets on my board doesn't do anything because none of them can beat over the Hammerhead. So
yeah,
it just, I have a bunch of stuff, but it's still like, cause like it's still like the earlier of Yu-Gi-Oh, where it's just like stuff that's just big is just good.
man. You know what this kind of makes me think?
Yeah.
Maybe the Mechanical Chaser was the right call.
Yeah, I mean, maybe in like some scenarios when I was like, if I got Mechanical Chaser, maybe could have done something to Hammerhead. But even after that, like I just Sabersaurus comes in, just runs over it, and then it's just like, all right, what are we gonna do? Because like, yeah, I don't know. maybe there's something I could have done better. Like definitely like double setting on the first games, like my first turn, getting blown up by heavy storm. Like that was kind of greedy. But even if I had like one of those cards, still I don't know if it would have done anything. So it's I don't know. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
this just felt like a repeat of the. I mean, it was a much swifter repeat because it was a beatdown versus beatdown deck, but like this felt like the equivalent to the Kaiba Yugi decks, where it's just like one deck just has no chance whatsoever. Because like the couple lines were just like, hey, open up 3 specific cards and maybe you can do something.
It's really interesting how I feel like the structure decks have slowly gone down in terms of like gameplay quality. Like the
Yeah.
games that we're having with the decks are worse every time, going from like Joey versus Pegasus. Because Joey versus Pegasus was like the best combination of 2 jank decks, and having
Yeah.
to figure out like strategies with these jank decks,
But I
and
also. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
that also like showcased how these jank cards can function in a way where they can build into a strategy, like with Penguin Soldier, Magician of Fate.
Yeah. I guess like a part of it could also be like because last time it was the Warrior Spellcaster thing. Okay, not last time, but the Warrior Spellcaster thing, and then like these, they weren't like released simultaneously as was like Joey Pegasus and stuff like that. So they probably weren't like, because I'm assuming like the ones that they released at similar times, they're like considering like, hey, people are probably gonna pit these against each other. Although I mean that Yugi and Kaiba is like, what were they smoking when they did that? But I guess those were started decks, so it's a bit different. But like, for example, the fire water felt like it was pretty close. The earth and wind felt a lot like more of a disparity, but I feel like in these, like, it's even more of a disparity between the levels of the two, because they don't really, it's just like, hey, this archetype is decently popular, let's just print a bunch of cards for them in a and put it in a structure deck, but not necessarily like print two at the same time, where it's like, okay, yeah, people are gonna play these against each other.
Yeah, with these two, there's like a multiple month gap.
Yeah.
With one coming in, I think earlier the year. Yeah,
Yeah.
or middle of the year. It's June 2006,
Yeah, I think
and
there was like a couple months, right? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and Machine Revolt is September 2006.
Yeah. Which is funny that this was later, but I mean, 2007, like, couple months, obviously. It's not the
Yeah.
same as like you'd consider 2010 and 2020. So I guess.
I mean, after a while, we get Caius, or the Dark Emperor structure deck.
Oh yeah, the monarchs.
Yeah, which I don't actually know if it's good because I've never seen what it has in it. I just know that it's like
I know there was a very good monarch structure deck, but I'm not sure if there have been two like with
There have been
dinosaurs, because I'm not sure if it's the original one or if it's the later one. But like monarchs were very good at some point, and I think that was because of a structure deck, but I can't recall.
it's the structure deck R series, which takes old structure decks and revamps to modern standards.
Oh yeah.
That's what happened with Dinos, with Ancient Gears, with Monarchs, with recently Dark Worlds, and I think even the Rise of the Dragon Lords had one, for
Oh
example.
yeah.
There's a bunch of them that have come out, and most of them are really good. Like most of them are actually legitimately good. I think
Yeah.
we're getting one for Fire Kings next. Oh yeah, we are. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Fire King's true. I always completely even forget about that archetype.
Yeah. Because it like got one set of support and
I
never
mean, yeah, it
again.
was very brief, like a flash of brilliance, I guess. So, yeah. But yeah, turns out Big Monsters are still very good in 2007.
Yep.
But I mean, we're getting more of these, like, just more akin to modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Where you're just like, yep, one side just doesn't get to play. But in a very different vein, though, than what modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Is actually.
I feel
is,
like
so.
it's more about tempo
Yeah,
than
definitely.
modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Like here, for example, the Hyper Hammerhead thing, you still got to play the game. Like you still had turns, but the issue was that your turns were marred with, oh, I have to redo what I just did because I'm behind on tempo.
Yeah, half of it
And
was just replaying stuff, obviously. The modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Is just, alright, can you play through 6 negates? If you can, you win. If you can't, you lose.
GG's
Good luck. This is your turn. So, yeah. I definitely like, do you prefer the more, like, tempo-based than other than to the modern style, which is just like, hey, it's 2 turns. You play your turn for 20 minutes, and then your opponent ponders for 5 minutes and then plays their turn for 10 minutes, and then whatever happens then is the result. So I do definitely like enjoy the more tempo style card games overall, so but that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. But I think this was kind of expected going into the episode, and I did say before, like, I feel like I have much less to lose here because I had the Johns ready even before we started, which was like you're expected to win, so if you win, it's like, oh yeah, this was expected, but if you lose, like, oh, well, you have lost with the dinosaurs to the machine revolt, like that's kind of weird, man. So I had the Johns lined up already, so but I definitely could have done stuff better, and I don't know if maybe playing Mechanical Chaser would have been the right play, but we'll never know, I guess.
Result-based analysis says
Yes.
that whatever you did here was not the play.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I think Aristotle said once, like, knowing you fucked up comes after you fucked up.
Yeah.
I think that's something Aristotle said once. I'm pretty sure.
Probably, yeah.
I heard it
My
in,
favorite
yeah,
French revolutionary Aristotle.
Yeah, I think, like, yeah. I think he was, like, from
You think
Venezuela or something, right? I think, like, Venezuela is in France, right?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Right.
Every time you say I think, I'm fucking losing.
All right, enough bigotry for 1 week. Hopefully you enjoyed the absolute ass beating that happened this week. Hopefully I can not get absolutely blasted next time when we're going to strike off Neos, I think, right?
I think so, yeah.
And
Strike Neos.
Strike Neos and Champagne Pack 2 is going to be next time. So it'll be interesting to see what we can cook up then. So thank you for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next week for episode 30. Big 30 already. That feels kind of crazy.
We've been doing this for almost... Oh, we've been doing this for over half a year now. Imagine.
Yeah, I mean, we've missed 1 week, I think, which means...
But we also pre-recorded that one.
Okay, yeah, that's actually... Actually, wait, did we... I think...
Yeah.
No, we pre-recorded one, but I missed another because, like, when I was coming back from Greece, it was, I think, Tuesday. So we pre-recorded one and then we skipped one, I think. But at the very least, like, we are behind a single episode, and that's it. I think that's, like, pretty damn good consistency-wise. So
Yeah.
and, like, I've definitely, like, I've had a blast with this. Like, never, like, playing in I never got into, like, even with Master Duel, I played, like, some. It was alright, but I never, like, super got into it. So I feel like this is, like, a really fun way to experience, like, just going to, like, the old formats, and, like, especially now when we're in the, like, basically peak of the era, like, where I got into it, like, being the past few sets have been, like, 90% of the cards in the episode, like, I could go dig up and I'll have them myself, because that's when I was just, like, as a kid, like, everything that I bought, it was just packs of Yu-Gi-Oh! So that's so sick to get to go through that and actually properly play this, even if sometimes it means getting absolutely blasted like this. But, you know, that's part of the experience. You could say that's part of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Learning journey. Anyways.
Roll credits.
Roll credits, yeah. Seinfeld theme place if it weren't a very DMCA. But yeah.
Just play Jeopardy or something. It's basically...
Yeah, it's works the same way, but yeah. Thanks for being here, fellas, and we'll catch you next week for another episode. Peace.